With all of the recent criticism that this magnificent stadium behind me has faced, and with talks of a new stadium possibly being built, I thought I'd come here today, take part in a comprehensive tour and advertise how magnificent this old beauty still is. Now, just to clarify, I'm not totally against a new stadium being built. There's actually a lot of pros to a new stadium being built. So before we go in for the tour, I will quickly list these pros and cons. The pros are, if we do build a new stadium, Old Trafford won't have to be knocked down, and therefore for the next 4 or 5 years, we won't have to play with reduced capacity. As you can see, all of this land is owned by United, meaning there's plenty of space to build a new stadium, whilst also keeping the current one open. If we weren't to build a new stadium, and we were to refurbish this one, we'd have to build over the railway line behind the south stand, and the houses behind the railway line would have to be knocked down. There'd just be a lot of kerfuffle. Now, of course, that means a lot of the memories that we associate with this place would disappear forever, possibly, with the main one being the original tunnel, which has been here since the inception of Old Trafford, surviving multiple bombings in the World War. We'd also lose the current tunnel, which has housed greats such as the original Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo, and of course, yours truly, as you can see me walking through the tunnel right now. We'd lose the famous turf around the Stretford end, which has even had the ashes of former players scattered around it. And of course, those people that have been coming many years would lose the seats that they've called home all this time. But if we did build a new stadium just nearby, it'd still feel like we were coming to Old Trafford anyway, as it would still be the exact same location. So what do you think? Should we build a new stadium? Should we not build a new stadium? Let me know in the comments below after you watch the video and we've explored a bit. But before we go into the ground and explore, let's take a little look at the outside for those of us that have never been to Old Trafford. So, just a mile away from the football ground, Old Trafford, is the cricket ground, also known as Old Trafford. And as with most football clubs in the UK, United's ground is right next to a normal residential neighbourhood, as opposed to other countries where stadiums are built out in the suburbs or the woods. Here's the famous pub that most fans go in pre-match and post-match. And forget Old Trafford over the distance. Over here, right in front of us, is where you can get the best fish and chips in the world. Of course, the legend Sir Bobby Charlton. And now let's head on to Sir Matt Busby Way and make our way towards Old Trafford. And yes, it is a beautiful stadium indeed. Here's the place where many opposition fans have stuck their colours permanently, well, kind of permanently, such as Lens, Lincoln City, FC Copenhagen, and even Toulouse. Now, just to the left of the East Stand is the Sir Bobby Charlton stand, the home of the Munich Tunnel, and this right here is the entrance for the away fans. And behind us are some great memories, such as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the '99 Champions League final.
Into Sheringham, and Solskjaer has won it!
The Busby Babes, of course. The class of '92. And the greatest goalkeeper to ever live, Sir Peter Schmeichel. And once again, if we spin around, is the statue of the Trinity, and just over the distance is the statue of Sir Matt Busby. Behind us, once again to the right, is the wildly successful hotel of Gary Neville, Hotel Football. And we're now walking under the tunnel of the Sir Alex Ferguson stand, and I was actually there when this stand was named. It was a game against Sunderland in 2011, and if I can recall correctly, Wes Brown scored the only goal. Do you want to listen to his song? He's big, he's bad, he's Wesley Brown. No. We're here to talk about Sir Alex, so.
I felt really honoured and emotional when I saw my name in that stand. I must say I really thank the club for that. It's really very nice of them.
And people can make fun of Old Trafford all they want, including United fans, but this technology around the roof of the stand was actually very advanced at the time. It means that the stand can remain standing without the use of pillars, and apparently this stand is the equivalent of 10 stories of a building. And now back onto the Sir Bobby Charlton stand. And if anyone remembers, we actually played Manchester City on the 50th anniversary of Munich. Unfortunately, we lost, with the goal scorer being Benjani. And as you come out of the tunnel, you will see the glorious, the amazing, the stand that houses the best atmosphere in the world, the brilliant Stretford end. This bit over here is the part where the most vocal fans congregate, also known as the Red Army. But to be honest, no atmospheres nowadays compared to the old Stretford end. And here we are at the back of the Stretford end outside, and right here is the statue of the legendary Sir Jimmy Murphy. And before the tour of the ground, we're now in the museum, and let's take a little look around. The first thing we see is a tribute to all of the great number 7s that have played for United: Eric Cantona, George Best, and of course, my favourite, the greatest of all time, Cristiano Ronaldo. And I thought it was a great touch that they had the shirt from Ronaldo's first season, and then they also had the shirt from when Ronaldo returned. Good touch. And looking at this actually gave me goosebumps. This is the original pennant from the 1968 European Cup final, which made Manchester United the first winners of the European Cup from England. And here's some history and a tribute to Jack Crowley. And just take a look at these contracts. Pause it if you want and read it, it's actually very fascinating. And if you're a fan of Tottenham, Leeds, Burnley, look away now, as this is what you call a trophy room. And behind me right here is the stuff that every United fan should know about, not just about our trophies. So behind us right here is the whole history of the club from its inception, from when it was known as Newton Heath, all the way to now, to the current day. But I won't explain it all in this video, but make sure you do stay tuned, as in a few days time, I will be releasing a video when I talk about all of the history of Manchester United. And of course, no one can talk about United without referencing Munich and the Busby Babes. And Duncan Edwards, they all do say that he truly could have and should have been one of the best players we had ever known. And not to forget, it wasn't just football players on the plane that day, there were many others involved, many who survived, and many who sadly perished. Here's a list of the United staff that survived, and here sadly is a list of the ones that perished. And here's some clips of fans from the olden times and the modern times. But seriously, you cannot beat those atmospheres from many years ago. Not to forget, however, there was a lot of hooliganism involved. And here's the original plan of Old Trafford. An Old Trafford that was much smaller, but could actually fit in roughly 80,000 people. How, you may be asking? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple really. Most of the ground used to stand back then. There were only a small amount of seats, and that was mainly in the Sir Bobby Charlton stand. And here's our actual original lineup from our very first game at Old Trafford. It was a game against Liverpool that unfortunately we lost. Here's a collection of stuff from modern players that have played for us, and here's a collection of stuff from Sir Alex Ferguson's time. The trophies he won, the awards he was given, his jacket, and a copy of the United Review. An old sign from the Warwick Road, the road you walk down to come to Old Trafford, and the sign is in the museum due to the fact that the road was renamed as the Sir Matt Busby Way in 1993. And people celebrate title number 20, and it is to be celebrated of course. But the best feeling was when we won title number 19. Here's the scarf that was given to us by United for free at the conclusion of the 2010-11 season when we won the 19th title. And here's a season ticket from the next season commemorating the number 19. And I just used to love singing this chant at Old Trafford. And here we go from happy memories to disappointing memories. So to start the tour, we were given a seat in the north stand of the ground, and to be honest, it actually was very weird, but it actually felt very special at the same time, looking at the stadium with no one in it. And yes, I am aware that there's other people with me on the tour, so I wasn't completely alone. And after a short speech from our guide, it was off to the next destination through the concourses. And yes, I do agree with people that the concourses at Old Trafford are not the best looking. They're nowhere near the concourses that you might find at the new White Hart Lane and at the City of London Stadium. But at the same time, they're not terrible. The food and drink selection, of course, is minimal, and they are slightly cramped and old-fashioned. But again, they do the job, and I've not heard of anyone getting crushed in them. The only true horror you will find at Old Trafford are the toilets. And if you want to learn a bit about the history of Manchester and the rivalry with Liverpool, listen to this short speech. Great stuff from Bob.
A red. It was done for Sir Alex's 25 years in the club, with 5 of these in the ground. Young local artist, the lady did it. I think it's a fantastic piece of art. It's so unusual. Sir Alex wanted it to be the thread of Manchester. As some of you will probably be aware, Manchester during the Industrial Revolution produced 80% of the UK's textiles. So it aims a very wealthy city. On the match, people talking about the rivalry between ourselves and Liverpool. I think it's football. It's not. It's all to do with the ship canal, because we used to export things, and obviously we had to go through Liverpool. They kept going on strike, and then Manchester workers weren't getting paid. So someone said, let's build our own. So we built our own ship canal, cut Liverpool, cost them lots and lots of money, made Manchester wealthy, and they've never forgiven us. People think it's to do with the football, but it's not. It's to do. And even you look on our crest and Man City's crest, both got boats on them. So that's what it signifies. But fantastic piece of artwork. This is the name.
We carried on through the stadium and we went out just below the away end.
So I was here after the game where he found Inga Haaland's dad did his nick.
Wow, I truly did not know that Inga Haaland was Haaland's dad. The more you know. Great views from here. The away end is now all standing with rail seats being installed. And now, to the legroom brigade, here's my little rant. If you want to stay at Old Trafford, yet complain about the legroom, how do you think more legroom will be made? By removing seats, obviously. So do you want the capacity to be reduced further than it already has over the past few years? Even at a new stadium, if you want a 100,000 capacity stadium and you want a mile of legroom, like most people seem to want, those at the top of the stadium will be watching from Mars. And it was now off to the classic tunnel.
It's worth looking down and thinking about the players who've walked down there. You'll also see a picture of the Holy Trinity, the statue outside, best Charlton Law. We're the only club who've got 3 Ballon d'Or players in the same side who played together. Other clubs have done it where they brought players in. These 3 guys played together for a long time. Like Michael Owen won it, but he won it playing for somebody else, not Man United, so we don't class it as that. Okay, follow me to the dressing rooms. Have a good look down.
We didn't really get to take a nice look inside, but here's a little picture. And it was then past the manager's office into the dressing room.
Big smiles, birthday boy. Originally the dressing rooms under Sir Alex were here. Wall here, wooden panel walls, 3 benches. Sir Alex didn't mind who sat where. Obviously the class of 92 all sat in that corner, Roy Keane sat with them. Someone just asked me about Ronaldo. Ronaldo in his time sat here. And in Rio Ferdinand's autobiography, the reason for it was a full-length mirror there. Ronaldo liked to sit opposite the mirror. And he would never let Ferdinand or Vidic, even though they could have been captains, go out until he used to block the door, nip back and look at his ears before he went out. And that's in Rio's book. Quite a character by all accounts. Squad's got bigger, so we needed more space. Whilst I wasn't a fan of his football, Mourinho's got great interior design skills. Mourinho developed this. Now, it got mood lighting, it can change different colours. I couldn't really see Sir Alex saying to Roy Keane, what colour do you want to say, Roy? That wouldn't happen.
And this is now the exact walk that the players take to get to the pitch.
Oh, wow.
Ever all at the minute. What did you say, sorry? Ever in time.
You'll recognise this tunnel. Yeah. You're going to have some fun.
And although us fans are sentimental about the whole stadium, the south stand that we're crossing now is the only stand that is still the original. And here's a slightly better look at the tunnel as we weren't allowed inside. And here's the story of the tunnel.
In 1910 it opened. Sadly, in the Second World War, 2 bombs landed on the ground. Obviously, the docks are over there, we had big ammunition factories, so the Germans obviously targeted it. This stadium was demolished, most of the stadium was demolished. We had to play at Main Road, City's Ground after the war when football resumed. But in 1949, when they cleared all the rubble away and started with the new stadium, the architects and the builders said, well, what we'll do, we'll flatten everything and start from scratch. Mr. Gibson, the chairman, the second chairman that showed me the tunnel, he said, no, if the German bombs could knock those walls down, you're not knocking them down. Build round them. So those 2 goals are the original part of the club. Unbelievable. Very sacred to us. If you look.
And there's some flags that fans have left. We then made our way up to the executive seating, which was carpeted with heated seats. Then past the press box and into the press room.
2002, this is where we signed players on. The first player to sign in here was a gentleman called Dion Dublin. It was a much bigger room, it was like the players' lounge with snooker tables, but it was made into a media studio. Dion Dublin was the first player to sign in here.
That was the end of the tour, and now to conclude, if you want a new stadium being built, yeah, that's your choice. If you don't want a new stadium being built, that's great too, but it should not be something that divides the fans. This is a great club, it's the greatest football club in the world, and the thing that makes it the greatest football club in the world is this glorious fan base. And it is this glorious fan base that will keep me coming back to this location that we call home for the rest of my life. Whether we're still playing at the current Old Trafford or we're playing at the new Old Trafford.
What are you doing? What are you doing?